What's going on, guys? Kiger here. We still have some more days left on the collaboration, and I've gone over Rimuru and Diablo already. Be sure to check those out on my channel. But today we're going to talk about Milim. On global servers, their banner was only available since yesterday, but initial reading and some testing, this fairy is ridiculous. Now let's check out her abilities. So when we go to Holy over here, Milim right here, basic attack, regular, standard basic attack, does a small AoE on the target that you hit, and then has a passive and an active. And both of these are wild. So if we look at the passive right here, so it's a little tricky to get it to work, but this is going to be huge in all forms of PvP. If we take a look right here, only triggers when switching to Milim's class. So what that means is you see I have them equipped on my book right here, and you see in the bottom right I'm book sword, so I would have to go from sword to book to trigger this. I would have to come to the class that has her equipped to trigger this. Now what the effect actually does, immediately deals damage, decent damage, surrounding 10 meters, which is really big, increasing their taken damage from flower fairies and companions, and reducing their speed. Can be triggered every 30 seconds. So the initial burst damage is going to work in all PvP, including ones that you can't summon fairies. The damage taken from flower fairies is only going to work in ones that you can use this, but that speed is going to be massive. So it's going to be the most huge in things like top league, because you're going to slow them down. That's a huge thing in top league, is your movement. If you can't move, you're messed up, which we'll see more of that later on. But the increased damage taken from flower fairies, that's going to be very big in things like Thunder Roar. It's going to be best in slot. Things like Shrine Peak, it's going to be very, very powerful. And even in PvE with Guild Boss, things like this, you're just doing more damage. Now as we scroll down, nothing changes. It's just the numbers go up. And that's something that we're always looking for when we're looking at these higher numbers. At what breakpoint are they the best? Because we're looking at when things happen. And obviously, level 7 is the best breakpoint right here, because that is going to give you the most movement speed, minus 30%. Level 8 is obviously going to be better because it's 1% more flower fairy damage, as well as more damage on the AoE. But it's obviously going to be harder to get her to Holy 3. So Drago Buster, this skill is busted. Now it's very, very slow, as we'll see, but the effect is insane. So as we see right here, blue white light deals damage to enemies in target area. When this skill is released, it locks onto enemies. So you have to play around with this in a dummy, do some PvP, test it out, because you have to understand the range of this. Because the moment you click the button, it locks onto the enemies, making them unable to move for 2 seconds. This will scale up and provides 10% attack bonus for 6 seconds. This is a huge thing with people that are building crit builds and things like this. They'll have all the crit in the world, but at the very fundamental of the game, it's attack minus defense. So if you're able to give yourself a 10% attack boost, this is massive. And then level 2 is the first huge breakpoint, because it entirely changes the effect. Because it also, we have a will that heals you based off damage done from flower fairies. This tacks it onto this ability, and it, as we saw, it's enemies, it's AoE, so heals you for 30% of damage done. Then as we scroll up, Level 5 is the next huge breakpoint because it makes them locked into place for 3 seconds instead of 2. Now, this is massive because things like archers and things, you want to... The biggest thing with multi-shot is they can dodge the third burst because you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And that 1 at the very end is the biggest portion of your damage. So locking them up so they can't move, we have silence and stuff from fire, which is nice. But this is just done. They can dodge all the other stuff, but this one is super hard. They have to predict it coming out, or be unable to be CC'd from other effects. But that 3 seconds is enough for you to never miss multi-shot, and you're guaranteed to hit it. This is also on top of the level 8 Holy Echo, which is ridiculous. Slaughter, level 8 Holy, dead. As well as several abilities require movement, such as uppercut, such as a lot of wind chaser abilities. A lot of things require movement, and you lock those up as well. Now, it's it's impossible to get during this event unless you do hundreds of pulls. But level 8 down here at the bottom entirely changes it yet again. When an enemy is hit, they get a minus 50% movement speed. That is, this is 30% right here. They'll get another 50% and reduce their defense by 20%. People are still using a bunch of Gladiator because they're able to reduce defense and block by 30%. This is 20% right here. And that is absolutely massive. But it will not affect the damage done from this hit because it's after when an enemy is hit, reducing their speed and defense, allowing you to go hog wild on them. Now let me show you some of what it actually looks like. Unfortunate because I can't show you movement speed and things like that on the dummy, but play around with her, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now let's do the basic attack test. Do another basic. Come on. There we go. Now, she has a standard basic attack. That was something that we saw with Diablo. He has a faster than normal basic attack. Both of these do a standard basic attack speed. And then watch her buster. The moment she teleports to the back, they are locked. They can't move. They can't do anything. The moment she teleports back, if you have big burst skills, so bam, bam, they can't react to that at all. And they're going to take more damage from Milim. I think Milim is going to be best paired with a high damage fairy, which you can actually use these two in conjunction because Milim is going to get messed up by characters or abilities that say they cannot be CC'd. Right here, Rimuru, that right there is going to suck up all the buffs that will make it so they can't be CC'd, and then you hit them with Milim's burst. Now, they do pair well together in a damage dealing character because you can strip, buff yourself, and then burst them. But Rimuru is more geared towards the support / tanky side. For do the damage, give you your buffs, strip their buffs. That's kind of what it's there for. And Rimuru is the burst, but Rimuru also works on that tank build as well, as long as you get a couple copies of her, because you heal for 30% of damage done. Let me know what you guys think of Milim down below. Until next time, guys.